Hello everybody, Andrew Field here. A lot of news to cover, and I'm going to try to go through pretty quickly because the NHL playoffs are starting, if you didn't already know. The qualifiers are amazing, by the way. This may be the best playoff run I've ever seen. We'll have to see, but it's really exciting seeing hockey all day. Almost too much, but never too much hockey. Alright, starting with the news. Donald Trump Jr. Was restricted from posting on Twitter after sharing a video touting hydroxychloroquine as a COVID treatment. Twitter continuing to do the right thing. Trump halted the daily briefing amid a question about support of a lady who was talking about hydroxychloroquine, who also talks about alien DNA and other crazy claims. The Trump administration awarded the once photography leader Kodak a $765 million loan under the Defense Production Act to aid in the production of key drugs. And it's really weird, first, to give that much of a loan, but also to a company that was a photography company. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Large gatherings are fueling the rise of COVID-19 cases. Congressman Louis Gohmert, Texas Republican, refused to wear a mask, tested positive for coronavirus. He deserved to get the virus. The U.S. Okay, so after May, right? May was where we were probably in our best position because even though we weren't where the European Union was or a lot of the world, we were still starting to level off in our case number. Um, I think our highest was like 30,000 cases, and then it went down a lot. But you know, Trump aided in that. We know he did a terrible job handling the pandemic, but he also did a terrible job after it was actually slowing down because he was telling these southern governors to reopen, and they made that such a big issue. And now cases are spiraling out of control. I think the highest we got was like 80,000 cases in one day. So it seems to be that there's less reported cases. But the problem is that during that time in late May, we were really lucky that the death toll was going down to like at one point like 250 deaths a day. But while the cases have gone down a little bit, the death toll has gone up a lot in America from the low of probably like 250 deaths a day, we're at like 1,400 a day now, which is a big difference. It's really worrisome. I hope that we're able to slow it down soon, but it doesn't look to be that way because a lot of my friends are going to colleges and a lot of big colleges are opening up. So although they may try to, you know, stop the coronavirus a little bit, some universities, I don't think they're doing nearly enough. So I'm kind of worried about, how my colleagues are gonna handle this. I hope a lot of them don't get COVID, but some of these universities, I predict there's going to be huge outbreaks, and I really hope that people are not going to be sent home, but it's a really bad situation. So go Joe Biden. Um, the first dog that contracted coronavirus has died, and it shows how little we know about how coronavirus impacts animals. Virus hunters sift through wastewater to detect COVID-19. Bill Gates, who's a genius, told Elon Musk he should stick with electric cars and rockets and not talk about coronavirus, which is exactly true. Lurie Children's Hospital had a study that found children may carry up to 100 times as much coronavirus as adults. That seems like really crazy, but that's what the study said. The longest person from England, the longest, sorry, coronavirus patient from England returned home after 141 days of being in the hospital and 105 days on a ventilator, which is just, it's hard to imagine. That's just so long of a time period. Herman Cain, a former presidential candidate and ex-CEO of Godfather's Pizza, died from coronavirus after attending a the Tulsa Trump rally. So don't really feel sorry for him. I think he was 74. GDP fell a 32.9% annual rate in the second quarter a 9.5% drop from the last quarter, the steepest declines in over 70 years of record keeping. You know, Trump on his reelection, he was basically running on the economy, and now that it's tanking so much, I mean, he really doesn't have anything left to run on. He has no health care. The economy is shattered. Millions of people are without jobs. He's sparking racial tensions as well as political tensions. He really doesn't have anything going for him, which is as sad as it is for the country. It means that Joe Biden should have a clear shot. Trump made another bad decision in pulling 12,000 troops from Germany. It's a move that will cost billions of dollars and take years. The decision attracted bipartisan congressional opposition, roiled key allies, and was seen as a blow to NATO because Trump is always loving to help Russia. Meanwhile, U.S. Germany ties are very bad under Trump, and one former ambassador said this is the most important election in the history of Germany. And if you think about like the most important elections for um, like U.S. history, I would say it's between this one and Lincoln as the most important election because with that one, if Lincoln didn't get elected, the Civil War wouldn't have happened and slavery probably wouldn't have ended. So that's of course very important. But with this election, there's a lot that rides on it, and if he wins re-election, the U.S. would be in a very, 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 very bad state. So um, it's close. Comment which one you think was more important. Trump accidentally retweeted a Judge Napolitano's article on the Washington Times calling the deployment of feds in Portland unconstitutionalism and totalitarian. Trump kept spinning the lie of mail-in voting, and he was trying to say he could delay the election because he knows he's going to lose. So what he was trying to do was delay like as much as he can so he could try and build momentum back because of how bad he's losing. But the Constitution states only Congress can change the date, and they definitely refused. And also, if there was an election by the end of the year, then Nancy Pelosi would become the president. I think they said January 20th. So there's no way that's gonna happen. I mean, there's no way that Trump, would be able to delay the election. Either Pelosi's gonna win or Joe Biden. I mean, I'm good with either. So whatever you want to do, Trump. FEC commissioner said it was not possible for Trump to delay the election. That stands for the Federal Elections Commission. An 18-year-old trans girl who organized a peaceful protest was kidnapped by NYPD officers in an unmarked van. She's suspected of putting stickers on police cameras. Federal agents were deployed to Detroit, Cleveland, Milwaukee as the Trump administration expands crime-fighting initiative. Detained Portland protesters are not allowed to attend future protests. I think that's like a part of the agreement to get out of prison. And that seems to be against their personal freedoms to be able to protest freely. Oregon's governor said federal troops will start to leave Portland, but the Department of Homeland Security said they are staying. So it's still a battle there. The Michael Flynn case is to be reheard by a full federal appeals court in D.C. The U.S. warned against planting mysterious seeds from China that were coming in. They're still not sure, but I think the Department of Agriculture was going to recognize them, investigate the seeds. The Postal Service reached an agreement for $10 billion loan from the Treasury should the need arise. John Lewis's funeral took place in Atlanta, Georgia. He wrote an opinion article for the New York Times right before his passing. 3 former presidents attended: George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, and they all delivered tributes. Trump did not attend the funeral or pay respects, but Joe and Jill Biden showed and paid their respects, which I think is a big deal because it should anger the African American community. That's such a prestigious member of the community and the community as a whole. John Lewis, who spoke up for civil rights and was a big part of the civil rights movement, and was their congressional leader for 30 years in Georgia. For Trump to not even show up is a big deal. And I'm glad that Joe Biden made the trip along with his wife, because it's very important to remember those that, America cared about and were very important to America's history. Um, Rev- Reverend Warnock read a message sent from Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter couldn't attend because he's 95 years old and won't travel during the pandemic, but he still delivered a message, unlike Trump, and he's 95. Experts say officials are locking up Xinjiang's women, killing their culture and destroying any chance of having more children. What China is doing is very cruel, and it's similar to what the Nazis did to the Jews. They should be punished by the international community, and I hope that Joe Biden goes after them after he wins. Kanye West was found to have faked 600 signatures for New Jersey. There's no way he's gonna win. He's probably not even gonna get on the ballot in most states now. Trump said he was gonna ban TikTok through an executive order. Microsoft looked to buying TikTok after talking to Trump, I guess negotiating with him and then looking to buy TikTok. Um, a Delta flight returned to the gate after two passengers refused to wear a mask, so they kicked them off the flight. And I think that's a really good sign. It seems like there's still a lot of people that are traveling by flight, which is pretty crazy to me because of the coronavirus. It seems like a bad spot to be. But these companies like Delta, the flight companies, seem to be doing a good job with making sure that people are wearing masks and trying to do what they can. So I appreciate that, and I think they took out the middle seat. So yeah. Um, NASA astronauts splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico after a historic mission aboard the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. Um, the death penalty was overturned for the Boston Marathon bomber, I think, because they said about the federal case below, which is interesting, but he still could get the death penalty later on, I think. And he'll serve at least life in prison, so it's not like he's going to get out. The Biden campaign called Trump's failure to raise Russian bounties with Putin despicable. Trump's poor poll numbers loosen his grip on the Republican Party. Trump's campaign nears a point of no return because, although the election is November 3rd, which is 3 months away from today, by the way, which is not that far away, early voting in key swing states start as early as September next month, which is a huge deal. And that's why I think he has no chance of winning re-election, because although I think early voting is very critical, because a lot of people are going to choose that. I don't know which one I'm going to do between in-person voting and early voting, but I know a lot of people are going to do that, and a lot of people are going to feel the need to do that because if the coronavirus is going to be bad in November, which it probably will be, like 90% sure it will be in November based on how we are right now handling it. Um, that means that people are not going to have to want to wait in lines and you know risk getting COVID and spreading it to their families. They're going to want to send in a mail-in ballot, make sure that they're voting safely. So it's critically important that we have early voting and mail-in voting. But I think that critically hurts Trump because with everything going on, the race relations, coronavirus, job loss, economy, all of that stuff, the more time like waits, it probably won't be better for Trump because the coronavirus is probably just going to get worse because of the way he's handling it. But in the small case that things were starting to get better, like probably local governments handling the coronavirus better, that would make Trump look better and he'd have some sort of momentum. So I think early voting crushes any sort of momentum Trump would gain. The Lincoln Project, who I would highly suggest you follow on Twitter, spent $4 million on ads targeting Alaska, Maine, and Montana Senate elections, which is critically important because I think it said that the Democrats only need 4 seats to flip the Senate, which is critically important. If we were able to get the House, Senate, and presidency, then we wouldn't have Republicans to deal with, which would be very nice. Facebook helped small businesses with the Summer of Support program. Lord and Taylor, the oldest U.S. department store, went bankrupt. The Arizona Coyotes general manager quit right before the playoffs. The NHL announced no new COVID-19 cases in the last week of testing. Um, and I just want to point out the Blackhawks had a huge win yesterday against, or sorry, not yesterday, 2 days ago against the Edmonton Oilers in Game 1. They're playing them again tonight. And if Chicago can repeat what they did in Game 1, they will definitely win the series. So, high hopes for Chicago. If they lose, I hope it goes to 5 games. The use of plastic bags in England went down 59% in 1 year. And the great news to end also was Mackenzie Scott, formerly Mackenzie Bezos, the former wife of Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, excuse me, already donated $1.7 billion after pledging to give away most of her fortune. She's got a lot of money, and she's giving it away to the right people, people that need it most. So that's all the news for you guys today. Please like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Peace out.